Maybe you've been using an iPhone for years, or maybe you just recently switched to it. In both cases, there are so many little settings that you probably don't even know about, but really should. And they might have to do with security or privacy or are just plain useful. So today we're gonna go over 13 settings in iOS that you should really change right away. And keep in mind, this list is based on iOS 11, so if you have something other than that, things might look a little bit different. We could start off with some privacy settings because I think those are pretty important. The first one will stop Apple from tracking your behavior and using it to advertise to you. So go to Settings, then Privacy, then at the bottom, look for Advertising, and then simply enable the option that says Limit Ad Tracking. You'll still see advertisements, but they won't use your personal information to deliver them. Another setting you should disable is back at the privacy menu, then Analytics, and here I would disable Share iPhone Analytics, which sends Apple all sorts of data about how you use your phone and even your location data. Companies always claim that it's to help improve products, but I just don't trust it. Next, here's another really big one that you should disable, again under Privacy, and then Location Services, and all the way at the bottom, click System Services. Look for the option called Location-Based Apple Ads and disable that. It should be pretty self-explanatory, but I definitely don't want my phone using up battery life just to send me advertisements. What a joke. And like the other setting we did before, if you scroll down, you'll see a section called Product Improvement. Again, I would disable all of these if you don't want Apple using your information for anything. This next one is actually pretty great. Go to Settings, iTunes and App Store, then look for the In-Apps Ratings and Reviews option and disable that. Doing this will stop apps from being able to ask you to review them on the App Store, which is really obnoxious. You get pop-ups all the time. And Apple recently changed their App Store policies so apps have to honor this setting and use an API for requesting reviews from now on. Though this does mean that if your app hasn't been updated recently, it still might be able to request reviews. And also, I have seen some apps that are up to date and it still bugs me about reviews, so hopefully Apple will start cracking down on apps that don't honor this option, but it should still help. Next up is another setting in this menu called Video Autoplay, where you'll have the option to enable, disable, or enable only when on Wi-Fi. And I keep this disabled, which makes it so when you're browsing the App Store, it doesn't automatically start playing video previews that I don't want to see. Of course, you can always still click on them to play them manually, which is the way it should be in my opinion. Alright, the next few have to do with security, and this next one is mostly for people who only have a 4-digit numeric passcode. You'll want something stronger than that for a couple reasons we'll get into, but in any case, go to Settings, Touch ID and Passcode, then click Change Passcode. After you type in your passcode once, you'll see an option for passcode options, so click that. Here you can choose multiple types of passcodes, either 4-digit numeric, which is the weakest, and you probably shouldn't use that. I would also recommend at least using custom numeric and choosing it something at least 5 or 6 digits long, or for the most security, choose alphanumeric passcode. One obvious benefit of this is that it makes it harder for a thief to guess your password, and every extra number makes your passcode 10 times stronger. And if you're using Touch ID, you don't even need to type it in that often anyway. Also, if you use a longer passcode, it makes it harder for anyone to spy on you typing your password and remembering it, like if they're looking over your shoulder or something like that. Okay, moving on. You might not realize this, but by default, a lot of your data can be accessed right from the lock screen without your phone even being unlocked. To fix this, again, go to Touch ID and Passcode menu, and scroll down to the options under Allow Access When Locked. Look through these and see if you want to disable any. For example, you might not want to be able to return a missed call without typing in the password. Or say you have a smart lock for your door at home or something, you probably want to disable home control so no one can unlock your door from the lock screen. But a really big one is Siri. Siri can do a lot, and you might not want people to be able to access it from the lock screen. Apple has actually improved it, so you need to type in your passcode to access most sensitive data like your emails. But for some things, like asking about your most recent phone call, it will still show anyone that without a passcode. So unless you use Siri a lot from the lock screen, it's best to keep it disabled just to be safe. This next setting has to do with two-factor authentication, something I've advocated forever. In the settings, click on your name at the top for Apple ID, iCloud, and iTunes, and then click Password and Security and enable two-factor authentication. The process will make it so whenever you want to log into your Apple account from a new device, you'll need to enter a second code that's either sent to your phone number or can be shown on one of your other trusted iOS devices. This is great for a number of reasons. First of all, if someone somehow gets your passcode, like from another database breach that you don't know about. Also, someone might even be able to call up Apple support and convince them that they're you and have all your information changed. In fact, that's exactly what happened to me one time. I'm not even kidding. Someone from China literally called up Apple support, had my password changed and all my account information, and spent all of my iTunes funds on some random app. Luckily, it was such an obvious fraud that Apple was able to restore everything for me. If you enable two-factor authentication, it makes it even more difficult for someone to try and impersonate you. And for maximum security, you can also enable the recovery key option. Last I checked, you are given one when you sign up for two-factor authentication, but if you choose, you can make it so only your recovery key can be used to reset your password. Not even an Apple support person could do it. Obviously, if you do that, do not lose the key. Make several copies of it, store it in a safe place like with your passport and other important documents, because if you do lose it and forget your password, or someone tries to log in a bunch of times and your account gets locked, you will lose your Apple account permanently without that recovery key. All right, we still got a few more settings to change. For the next one, go to Settings, Display and Brightness, and then Auto Lock. The lower you have this set, the more secure your phone will be. If you happen to just set your phone down, this is how long it will take before your phone locks itself. Obviously, never isn't really a great idea, because then anyone who walks by can get into your phone unless the battery runs out. And ideally, you'd set this to 30 seconds, but I actually have it set to a minute because the screen will dim 10 seconds before it actually locks. Meaning if it's on 30 seconds, and say you're reading something and don't touch the screen, it will dim after just 20 seconds, which is really annoying. So I have it set to about a minute. Next up is actually one of my favorites, and you might already know about this feature. It's called Night Shift. Under Settings, go to Display and Brightness again, and then Night Shift. And this feature allows you to change the color of the screen at night so it's less harsh on your eyes and makes it a bit more orange. And this reduces the blue light coming from the screen, which is shown and proved to disrupt our sleep. I'd recommend setting it on max, and believe me, you probably won't even be able to notice the difference because your eyes will get used to it, but it will help. And I like to keep mine on sunrise to sunset so it changes automatically, but you can either also manually enable it from time to time or choose your own times to schedule it. And if you're skeptical, try keeping it enabled at night for a few hours and then turn it off for a second, and I'm pretty sure you'll be surprised. Okay, almost finished, and I also really like this next one. In the settings, click on your Apple ID at the top, and then click iCloud, then Find My iPhone. Now yes, I know you probably already have Find My iPhone enabled, but that's not what we're here for. You actually want to enable the setting called Send Last Location. With this, if your phone's battery is about to die, it will send out at least one last signal with its location. And at least that way, if you forget your phone somewhere, you'll know where to check first, and hopefully, if it didn't move since then, it should still be there. And finally, this one might be good to change for anyone who has a limited data plan, which is probably most people. Go to Settings, Cellular, and then look near the bottom for Wi-Fi Assist. This allows your phone to fall back onto cellular data if the current Wi-Fi connection and network has a poor connection. This sounds great, but if you have a limited data plan, it could be eating through a lot of data. And it will actually say right there how much data it has used. So if it's not a lot, you could probably just leave it on. And obviously if you have unlimited data, you can keep it on because it doesn't matter. But if you do have a data cap and you see it's using, say, a few hundred megabytes or more, then you should probably turn that off if you tend to find yourself running low on data every month. So that should cover it. If you have any other really good settings to change, be sure to let us know down in the comments, and check down there as well to see if anyone else maybe came up with some good ones that I didn't. If you want, you can keep watching. I'll put some other videos right here. And if you want to subscribe, I make new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And also consider enabling notifications by clicking the bell, or YouTube probably won't show you any new videos anyway. So again, I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.